Today I talk to Keri Hunt, another super creative. We talk about what inspires her creativity, her sense of humour and an early love of Monte Python, as well as exploring Wolverhampton and the art of graffiti. I started by asking her where it all started.
Well, my art really started as a child. I've always sort of like dived into drawing pictures and stuff like that. But what I did in my teens as I evolved, I started doing cartoon characters of my friends. So if I found something quite, unique or funny about them, not in a horrible way. Like, for example, my friend, she was really into the Levelers and all of that. So I'd do a whole commentary about how she loves Irish people and silly things. One friend ironed her hair because straighteners weren't around. So I did pictures of her straightening her hair. So I'd always find comic and humour in my friends and my social circle. So they inspired me to do a lot of things. And then when I moved into photography, I found that I could cut out the photographs and make even funnier images. So we used to do these like montages, like stick the cat's head on another body or just mixing things up purely for humour. But then later on in life, I really loved people like Monte Python. And the cartoons in there, again, it was all about that cut and paste and humour. I never knew until I got to university that it was all evolved from the Dada movement.
Okay, yeah.
And from then on, after going to uni and studying more about the art itself, it kind of like confirmed everything that I loved and was interested in, and I must have been getting all of this subliminally.
Yeah, okay.
Because from the Monty Python days, that was the 70s, I was only a child, I didn't really understand the humour, but something was making me laugh about it. Yeah. And it was all it was Terry Gilliam's animations, when he used to use works of art like Venus, Lady Venus, and just do silly things with it.
He would just cut stuff out and like make little animations.
Yeah, and they were so silly and funny. But through that, because my granddad used to have all these encyclopedias, I found that these were actual real pieces of artwork, because I've always been a bit of a geek. If I like something, I've got to research it. So my art has always been around me, but as I've got older, just life itself, the whole Dada thing is about ready-made, seeing what's around you, using and being resourceful of what you've got, and putting a little bit of a humorous spin on it.
I was going to say a sense of humour.
Absolutely. That's, for me, is the most important thing in my artwork. I want to make someone chuckle. They might think a little bit, because with Dadaism, it did evolve and did get a little bit more on the political side. So it did evolve into that. And I don't think you can avoid it these days anyway. But I still like to find the positives.
And often humour is a good way of dealing with serious subjects.
Oh, absolutely. And it's critical for me to have humour in my life. Absolutely.
You can be a bit subversive with it.
I could be very dark with it, I know that. Not everybody's cup of tea, and I do have to hold back in my artwork, I feel. So I explore Wolverhampton, my hometown, because we've got so much going here. Yeah. I mean, the architecture it just blows me away. I never look down in Wolverhampton. I'm always looking up. I'm always looking at the buildings and I was trying to imagine what they look like inside. Yeah. I'm such a curious little kitty.
Yeah,
She's very curious. So yeah, I've used a lot of architecture in my most recent works.
I always wonder about trying to get inside some of the buildings, especially some of the really older buildings in the city centre. Yeah, we've got to try and do that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because I'd love to find some like derelict buildings and get some really sort of spooky shoots going on, which plays into my horror sort of love. But there's just so much to explore in Wolverhampton.
Because I know a lot of your work is about people and portraits, and I hadn't kind of thought so much about the architecture and using Wolverhampton as part of that.
Well, the people part of my photography is playing into my hairdressing career, because even though I started off doing photography in 1987, it's very hard to get self-published and all of that. Yeah. So I ended up doing something else in between. But the photography always played a great part of the hairdressing, because every time I explored and created a new hairstyle, I could capture it on film and photography before digital came along. So most of my pictures were very fashion and hair based. But then as an artist, I take the people out of it. It's really strange.
That's
I've got
interesting.
I've got like a split personality. There's Keri J Hunt, who's the people person, and I photograph events. That's what I do now. I love doing portraits and concentrating on that person. But as an artist, I like to step away from the people and look at our surroundings, which is why the architecture comes in. And then I like to zoom into the graffiti, which is like the voice of the street. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit more nitty-gritty.
I like that. Graffiti is the voice of the street.
Oh, it definitely is. You get the vibe from what the words are. I mean, there was one with Putin. You know what I mean? There's a very political one there. But it was the little stickers I focused in. I mean, the big pieces are amazing and stunning.
Yeah.
And the tag names, and I struggle to read them most of the time, but they're beautiful aesthetically. But then when you zoom into like the lights of the subway and the stickers, little grotty stickers, they've got such poignant little messages like media is the real virus. Another one I picked up on was drop beats, not bombs. That's quite an old one that we used to use in the 90s. But it's all very relevant of how people don't want all this, you know, war and violence. I think most people want peace and unity.
And I think a lot of the graffiti has quite kind of serious political messages, but sometimes it's people saying it in a little bit of a kind of quieter, subversive way rather than...
Absolutely, some are very subtle about it. I mean, there was this scrawling, I can't remember the whole sentence now, but it's something like, as each day goes by, we get closer to death. And it just looked like a scrawl, but when you read it, it's like, he has got a point there. But then on the flip side, you've got a massive piece saying, smile more often. And it's like, yeah, I do need to do that. Yeah, I need that contrast, I need that juxtaposition. So I look at both sides. I look at the bit of political, the bit of anger that's in there. There was a great one. It was just very, very scrawled on, no vaccine, but because I was a bit in that way inclined at the time, it's like, yes, revolution, there's someone on my side. So you find those voices amongst the scrawls. It's interesting.
Yeah, and it's all ways of expressing yourself and talking about what you're thinking, what's going on in your mind.
Absolutely, because my dream one day is, because I've been photographing bits of graffiti for, it's got to be over 10 years now, I'm reaching a 10-year peak of it. I'd love to do a book like Martha Cooper. I want to be Wolverhampton's Martha Cooper, because I've got such a catalogue of the graffiti from Heath Town, a lot of. And it would be nice to curate a book and put that together at some point.
Yeah. And I guess as graffiti kind of changed over the years, you can see an evolution in styles and different people getting involved.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, we don't hear of many female ones, but there are some incredible female ones out there as well. But it's just all of it's beautiful. I mean, I love Digbeth. I mean, they've got some proper beautiful art there. And I think the reason why I like to photograph it and immortalise it is, you know, it's not going to be there forever.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be in a few years' time painted over. So for me, it's about immortalising those pieces to, you know, so then we never forget that.
And do you want to say something about the Wolftown Rogue?
Well, I've always loved magazines. I've grown up reading Dazed and Confused, and I've even met Rankin, the photographer that created that magazine. Got a cheeky selfie with him. After an interview, he said he hated selfies, but I was a little bit tipsy that night and I didn't hear that bit, but I caught him for a selfie and I got loads of exposure for it. Even the magazine, Creative Head magazine, even they said, can we use that photo, because that's rare. So I got a rare photo with Rankin, had a beautiful, beautiful experience. And I've always been into that magazine fashion vibe. I also like Vogue, even though it's very pretentious and very upmarket, darling, way out of my price range. However, I do like the styling, you know what I mean? But then Dazed and Confused got that rawer energy, the more street style, where Vogue's a bit opposite, but it's still got that, they've still got a uniqueness about them that I like. So it's kind of a mix of that. So it's like Rogue, it's like a parody of Vogue, but more of a street style with the Dazed and Confused kind of vibe with it. So it's a magazine I'd like to create. I'm doing it online at the moment, so I'm just kind of testing the waters, and hopefully at some point it'll be, you know, a real thing. But in the meantime, it's just something to keep me creative.
It'd be really exciting if it's a physical magazine we can look at.
Well, I'd really love that to happen, but yeah, I just need people to advertise with it for that to happen. But in the meantime, I can do it online with the, with what I've got now.
Yeah. Yeah, and finding ways to, like you say, keep creative and challenge ourselves and push ourselves to try new things.
Absolutely, because sometimes it's like with the last pieces I've been doing as a physical artist drawing, I always tend to go towards character like Joker and Harley Quinn because they just resonate with me. But as a photographer artist, it's either architecture, but another thing that I've forgotten all about it, and I was digging through some old photos, 1988. Okay. I did all these light stream ones with just the cars on long shutters. Yeah. I'd forgotten I'd done that. So I had to rush out and do it again with my digital camera. I didn't even get the tripod, I just balanced it on a railing, thought I'd just hope for the best. And just a few shots of that, and I thought, I need to do more of that. So it's kind of inspired me again for a new project. It's like, it's all going to be back to doing more about the lights again. So I've got a few spots that I'm going to pick and hang around with my camera and see what happens. And
Wolverhampton's important to you.
It's all Wolverhampton based. All of it's Wolverhampton.
That's a big character in your life, the city.
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm homegrown, never left. I've tried to leave and I always come back, so something keeps me here.
I don't know how many people have said that to me. Like they've left and they've come back. They can't get away.
It seemed all right where I was, but no.
So what is it about Wolverhampton that brings you back?
I mean, there's a lot of nostalgia there and that, but it's just such a beautiful place and the people are great. We're always trying to get something going on, whether they happen or not. The enthusiasm never ends. I mean, we get kicked down now and again, but we always find a way to pick up. We've just got that resilience about us, I think, because Wolftown are such yams. I'm so proud to be a yam. So, and we have got a lot of history. It's so enriched with history, and I think we just need to celebrate that more.
Yes, I think it's important not to be too nostalgic, but take the history and find a way to use that to move forward.
Exactly.
And not just be sentimental about the past, but use that history for something positive.
Exactly. Because I've loved watching the changes of Heathtown, because I mean I lived there. I was born there, so, and then 20 years later I'm living there again, and I did spend a lot of time there. I loved it. I loved it because I had all the graffiti then, so for me it was like a permanent project. That's what started it. But then what I've also noticed, I still keep going back even though it's been 20 years, because I've seen all the new changes, and I can't help it, but it looks like Lego. But I like that. I kind of like it. It's almost like turned into a toy town. But, because you've got the nostalgia, you've got the bridge, and I hope they never get rid of the spirals.
The spirals there.
They can't get rid of the spirals because that's got so much nostalgia. But the fact that they've revamped it around it, I find it quite fun.
Yes. And are there things, or what would you like to change, maybe, if there was something you could change to make the city better?
I just think we need more investors and use up more of the buildings that are available. I wish there was a fairer, cheaper, I don't know how we get through that, but it's just, I know my friend he went to Berlin a lot. He noticed that all the derelict buildings, if they could take them on and sort them out, they'd leave them to it. You know what I mean? So that created a really good economy, and it created all these, it's birth dining. That's how we got that idea from. So we need a little bit more of that kind of.
There's things we can learn from other places about how we could do things better.
Absolutely, but we just need people to come and invest and come to our nights and our events and get together and enjoy things.
Support each other and celebrate what we have got. That's the biggest one.
Support. I think we need support from every corner.
And how would you describe Wolverhampton to somebody who had never been here?
I think it's very unique. People are very friendly. I've always noticed that, and that's. I mean, I've as a hairdresser did people from all over the place, London, wherever. They always ended up moving to Wolverhampton after they graduated, and I could never understand it. It's like, why wouldn't you want to be in London? Well, one, it's cheaper in Wolverhampton, but friendlier. It's always, that's the biggest thing I've always come away with. People say how friendly it is, and it is. It really is. It's the people that make it.
That is so true. It's the people who make the place. To find out more about Keri and her work, be sure to check out her social media in the description below, especially take a look at the Wolftown Rogue. If you want to support the podcast, take a moment to follow on Spotify, Apple or YouTube and share with someone else who might like to hear it.